Hi friends, I'm Prairie Vintage. My name is Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube, and I use spirit, my intuition, the tarot to communicate energies to you guys, amazing, beautiful viewers. If you're new to this channel, I'm so blessed that you found me, and for those of you guys returning, I'm so grateful to be here doing your reading yet again today. I hope these messages resonate for all of you guys. You guys are all very safe and welcome in this space with me today. Today I will infuse much love into this reading, and I hope you guys get what it is you need. We are looking at a message from your high self. Okay, and when I say high self, it is the self that already exists within you. Okay, it's not a self you're trying to attain. It is your essence, your energy that's not distorted with all sorts of conditioning, programming, traumas, and projections. Okay, so that self, that pure self, that authentic self, the highest level of self that is residing within you, is going to pull through here with a message for you. I will be channeling this using obviously the cards and spirit. Okay, so tap into your own intuition. This should be something resonating for you. Best way to do this is to use whatever sort of means, what you feel, what you see, what you hear, to connect with the messaging, okay, and your intuition. And if it doesn't feel right or resonate for you, then you might want to go check out another pile, or it could potentially be I'm not tapped into your frequency in this reading. Okay, so beautiful collective. If you are matching the energy in all three piles, then that's absolutely fine as well. Sometimes there's a lot of energy that you might be dealing with, and there might be three different sort of angles or perspective coming through. Okay, so just keep an open mind, but don't force any of these messages to fit. Specific messages pull through for certain individuals in order to communicate what they need to hear, and you can leave those specific messages behind. It is the overall energy in that pile or that reading that should be resonating. Okay, with all of that being said, beautiful, beautiful angels. Let's take a look at the three options. Option number one, we have this bejeweled little birdie. I don't even know what color this is. It looks like it's a purplish red, a deep wine color. Option number two, we have this beautiful peacock with all of the jewels. And I do believe this is a scent bottle or a perfume holder of sorts. All right, option number three, I have this Canadian goose feather that I found on my walk. So beautiful angels, sit with this energy. I do feel there's overlapping energy already with all three of these piles. Okay, that doesn't mean that all three have to resonate, but I do feel interconnectedness between this energy here. Okay, so anyway, I'll leave this with you guys, fine people, and I'll put the timestamps to all three of these piles in the description box, and in the pinned comment below it will take you directly to your pick, and I will see you at your pick. Hello, hello, beautiful, gorgeous, amazing pile number one. You guys picked the purpley red bird, wine colored bird, styrofoam bird that's all bejeweled, absolutely gorgeous. Let's take a look at the messaging pulling through for you from your high self. Now, if you skip the intro, I don't blame you, but what I was communicating there is your high self is who you are, okay? That isn't distorted by all sorts of conditioning, programming, traumas, and distortions. And this is your highest state of being, pulling through with a message for you, what you're needing to hear. And so if this doesn't resonate for you, then you might want to go check out another pile. Do not force it to fit, okay? And the best way to do this is to tap into your intuition through this card layout. So I will lay these cards out. I have not looked at them. I asked Spirit to help me to tap into your high self in order to deliver this message, okay? And so whatever you'll see, feel, or hear to determine whether the messaging is right. And like I said, don't force anything to fit. If you feel you are in tune with your intuition, you can click straight away on the main reading. All right, so beautiful pile one, we got renewal as your first card. This is red ray, which is root chakra. So we're having some root chakra renewal. Maybe you're doing some release of certain behavioral patterns in your physical world, potentially. You know, this could represent like certain 3D behaviors, addictions, dependencies. Is very much rooted in the body. Okay, but we have renewal. And then we have her crown glowing. And this could be symbolic of enlightenment or raising our levels of consciousness here with renewal. Okay, we have 19 with wake up call. You're about to discover your life purpose. Oh my goodness. Well, 19 is 10. And 10 is completion and ends of cycle. And so I feel like we might be ending a cycle in order to get into this renewal, but I feel like you might have been in the process of closing something out for quite some time, because I feel like we're on the upswing here. Like it's time, we're getting this call. And 19 is the sun, and we were already tapped into the sun in this card, which is enlightenment. The sun gives us clarity, gives us joy, and it also is father energy. So it's like creating something, you know. So your life purpose is now giving birth, but in a masculine way. Okay, and the masculine way is taking action on some idea or some life purpose. Put it into action. Perfect. Okay, and then we also got the Wheel of Fortune then with the number 10 here. Okay, and 10 with the Wheel of Fortune is all about the divine timing. You know, like something that is destined, or now's the time. Like the universe is working with you here. 68 with resolve. It says, this is a period of indecision and inner conflict, and it is time to make a decision. So potentially we were humming and hawing or not sure what our purpose was, or we were sitting with this for some time. We might still be. We'll see what your high self wants to say about this. So that's 14, which is temperance energy, Sagittarius, Leo energy with all this sun energy we're feeling. And then we have 17 with nourishment. So 17 is star energy. And a star is all about attaining our wish. Movement with number 8. And movement could be certainly taking action on something, so something can gain traction. It's also about change. It's the strength card in the tarot, facing our fears or having to lean into things maybe that we've been held back from. Aquarius and more Leo energy pulling through with this. You are being asked to take time out for self-care, it says. I feel you have been working on some sort of root thing here that might have been holding you back. Darkening, the number 12. So 12 is the Hangman, Pisces energy, a change in perspective. The darkening could certainly be the calm before the storm. We don't see just yet, potentially, the light. The void. You see snake, which is all about the healing and the shedding of the old, which we were picking up right before the renewal. And we have to make space and shed certain things. Crows about communication. Crows bring messages from between worlds. So lots of Scorpio energy we're feeling here. Maybe you're receiving some sort of guidance and information with the Wheel of Fortune. Dragonfly spirit, truth transcends illusion, 22. So 22, a master number. Peacemaker, diplomacy, healthy energetic boundaries. It's also about divinely guided relationships. And so this could be a relationship to self, a relationship to a certain pattern or a certain way we engage with someone or something. We're having to see through or transcend through an illusion, a perspective with the Hangman. We have deep knowing, 43. Wow. Okay. So number 7 here. 7 is chariot energy, which is integrating shadows. About balance, which we got with temperance. And victory with the chariot here. So we had some strength energy with the number 8. And that's kind of like chariot energy, because there's a need to know how to pace ourselves. Maybe there is a level of patience here required, and courage, and deep understanding. So we see the owl about wisdom with the snake, some sort of experience, the moon's feminine energy, a deep knowing, understanding of the subconscious, emotions tied into this. So we see feminine, masculine energy, Cancer, Pisces energy pulling through. And we have tenderness, true love and compassion. Oh my goodness. So 9's about fruition, completion, fulfillment. Giraffe has a higher level of perception. So it's a raised level of consciousness potentially, or we're seeing from a different perspective. I think we're still in our perspective, but it's a higher perspective. True love and compassion, tenderness, beautiful. Giraffe. Okay, and we have step back. You're being asked to step back from your life in order to gain perspective. We were just talking about this. When you're too close to a situation, it can be hard to make out a decision. We got a decision. We got having to see through an illusion, and we have a perspective here. Okay, higher perspective. Span out and view your life from a distance so you can get to the perspective needed. Wow. Okie dokie. We have envy, number 20, or the number 2. 2 is about potentially a choice. It's about balance, which we really got here with the temperance, the chariot, even strength. Okay, balance, duality. And we got the masculine and the feminine. So we see envy here right beside tenderness and compassion. So it's kind of like these two different energy states, right? If we're in compassion and love, we can't be in envy. And this tenderness color is inside of this archway, this sort of yellowy state, kind of connecting back to this enlightenment, is inside this doorway. So are we here with the envy, but we can be walking towards this tenderness, compassion. Okay, we have rainbow waterfall, miracles. Wow, 31, or the number 4. 4 is all about structure, foundations, stability, planning. It's emperor energy, which was giving me that masculine energy of being empowered, but miracles seem to unfold by the grace of God and divine guidance and intervention here, which we got Wheel of Fortune. So rainbow talks about the various ways we could see things with the perception here. I'm getting Hangman, Pisces energy, and the butterflies talk about the transformation, and the final form of transformation, because it's a butterfly. Same with the dragonfly. And that's all about transformation. Oh, we got 3 butterflies. So it's like the final stage of transformation potentially here. Rainbows speak of hope, which we got with the star energy. Star is our wishes. So water could represent our emotions. Waterfall could be a flow of emotions here, to allow something to flow. Rainbow waterfall, here we see rock formations, could be representing mountains, stuck energy, blocks, obstacles. Okay, we have eagle spirit, freedom. So again, we have that elevated perspective with the eagle. The eagle has very good eyesight in order to know when to take action. Again, that masculine energy of knowing when to be empowered to act. And here we see the Pegasus, white Pegasus. 13 is the death card in the tarot, which is all about the transformation, shedding of the old, so we can have this renewal with the snake. Lots of clouds, confusion, need to know, to make a decision, to get clear. Okay, Scorpio energy, if I haven't said. Sacred union. Oh my goodness, look at these 2. And divine union here. So we have 2 trees. Trees are giving me that number 4 again, which we pulled through. And 4, like I said, 4 with the eagle spirit too. So something about the tree stability, the strength, grounding something. But sacred union is a coming together, which we got from the temperance. Coming together. Inner peace. Oh my goodness. And look at the 2 koi fish. And I got 2 trees, 2 koi fish. So again, the duality. But the union is turning 2 into 1 potentially to find the inner peace. Okay, so we'll pull tarot if we need. You guys can click straight away to the channeling of this message. I will sit here with this energy and begin to channel what it is that's pulling through. Freedom. I don't know if I said freedom. Liberation. Okay. Pile number 2. Your high self is pulling through here, acknowledging something very challenging for you, because I feel like you have been amidst a situation. For some of you guys, it's could be in a relationship, but it doesn't have to be like an intimate sexual relationship or like a lover of sorts, okay? But I feel like it's a relationship to how you engage with something or someone, okay? Your relationship to that, okay? But specifically, it's highlighting there how it connects back to you more than it does external. So if we are, let's just say, for example, because the root is coming through here, and the root chakra is a very physical 3D, okay? So when we're in the 3D sort of state here, we might start to believe we are the body, okay? We are the mind, we are the body, because we have an identification or an attachment to this body. And so it creates a perception of separateness, okay? And so we know, okay, like, because we're spiritual beings, even though we might not conceptualize it or totally integrate or encompass unity consciousness, which is we are all one, okay? We are all one being. We're not separate. We're not separate from the creator. We're not separate from brothers and sisters. We're not separate from the animal kingdom. We're not separate from nature. We're all one. We know this conceptually, but when we haven't transcended a lot of the lower chakra stuff, we are still believing in a separate self that is functioning, and it's functioning separate from everyone and everything else. So there is a relationship to something you have here that you're transcending. You're working through, seeing through this belief you have that's not true, because it's not based in reality of the universe. It's based on a perception that you've carried. And so it might be impacting a habit, or impacting a feeling that comes through here, or impacting a relationship, or impacting the growth of something that has been challenging, stuck. And I feel like it's dying off here, or it's at least very challenging in order for it to die off. So I don't know where you guys are at in your sort of energy timeline here, because there's many different energies coming through here. Okay, but your high self is acknowledging this process. So if you're kind of already went through this void, this die-off, this darkening, not knowing and not seeing, it might have been very challenging, and we didn't know why. Okay, and so we might be slowly pulling ourselves out of this and understanding that maybe what we were seeing and how we were engaged was perpetuating a misconception of reality. And the misconception is that I'm separate, I'm lacking. Okay, and so this is supported by how you engage. So we might not say I am lacking, but when we have a deep feeling of sadness because we feel alone, that is stemmed from a feeling of lack. So when we peel back the layers to whatever you were feeling or whatever action you are taking, because I feel it's more tying back to an action. Okay, so I don't know, I'm addicted to, let's just say, like, let's just use the most extreme example here. I'm addicted to heroin. Okay, very extreme. I'm addicted to heroin because in my body form is giving off this feeling that I'm seeking external from me, that I feel I'm fulfilling every time I give into that heroin addiction. Okay, and I'm using that because this is root. So it's an addiction, an addictive type behavior. Okay, so addicted to substance, addicted to the way I engage, how I respond, how I'm, physically acting in my world. So what I'm eating or ingesting or acting upon, okay, because this is all about acting upon some way that it feeds that beast or that perception. And so you're identifying here, your high self is saying that this perception was feeding that beast, which was a misconception, which was keeping you in perpetual sort of darkness or some sort of state here that wasn't very good. Okay, it's showing up here as envy. So, but it doesn't necessarily have to be I'm jealous of that person, but it's a perception that there's something out there that I'm not harnessing within me that I already have, which is this true love and this compassion within me. Because when we boil everything down to true love, like I always state in my videos, then we are aligned with the Creator, okay? Because God and love are one. So love is in every single moment and every single relationship and thing. It exists always, omnipresent, just like God. But if we don't see it in that moment, if we don't stop the brain in order to recognize the love in that moment, we tend to support the thing that we do see. And so just because love is there, just because compassion is there, just because the beautiful state is there, if we're too clouded, too distorted, too programmed to see that in the moment, we stay in suffering and we create the separation between us and that loving moment. And so there is you, and there's something out there that looks more appealing to you. Okay, like when I'm with that person, I'll be loving and whole. When I, reach the state of enlightenment, whatever that looks like to you, then I'll be free of suffering or this burden that I carry. When I, stop smoking, whatever, like force myself to stop smoking as many cigarettes, then I'll be in that state or whatever it is that you're perceiving as separate from you. And your high self is saying, you are not separate, beautiful angel, from that in which it is you're seeking. Okay, the only reason we haven't merged with it yet is because we have a perception here that needs to be cracked through, which I feel you're working your way through. There's a deep knowing that we are one with the Creator. It doesn't come from mind. It comes from us knowing inside of ourselves who we truly are. We are the Creator. We are an extension of God. And so these sort of spiritual concepts resonate very deeply within us. When we talk about love, it resonates very deeply. When we talk about separation and envy and any sort of energy that makes us contract, it doesn't feel good. And it doesn't feel good for a reason, because it doesn't resonate with our deep knowing of who we truly are. Okay, and so this is why it feels bad or it doesn't feel good. And so I feel like there's a state of not feeling good here that you are inducing upon yourself. I mean, you don't need to induce this upon yourself, but the only way for us to be able to understand this in a deep knowing subconscious way that pulls through here is to rise above the mind, to see the illusion of the mind that we are separate, or that there's something out there that's going to make me whole and complete or bring me into balance. Okay, so Spirit's asking you here through your high self for you to become very still. Okay, so we do this through taking time out or not engaging in the way we always have. Okay, like obviously, I mean, if you have a habit that is on autopilot and you can't stop doing it, then, continue doing whatever you're doing here, but be still enough to see it in action. Okay, and that's habitual way has to burn itself out through your awareness of it. Okay, and what I mean by this is through years and years of karma, or years and years of inertia of this mind pattern, hanging on to this belief, I am separate, or I'm lonely, or I'm not good enough, or I feel anxious when I'm doing nothing. I feel this way or that way. That perpetual state that we carry. First step is to observe. And the only way we can observe it is by being still. Okay, but it might still have a mind of its own. And the only reason it's doing this is because karma has to balance and fulfill itself. And so the more awareness we put on it, it starts to slow that behavior down. Okay, we don't identify with it. We see through the illusion. So when we see through it, we know we're not alone. We see that the old feeling is coming up. That old mind story comes up. But I see through the illusion here. I'm rising above this thought. And I'm keeping my awareness on this every time it comes. And so this thing that had a lot of momentum starts to peter out, because there's a deeper knowing that you have, that you are God's child, that you are love, compassion, that you are not in a state of separation. Okay, and so I feel like Spirit is guiding through your high self here. To see this, we need to make space between us and that action, that thought. Okay, because a thought that we feel intensely, it turns into action. So I feel like you're acting out something that is coming through as an unhealthy thought that doesn't need to be there. And it's unhealthy because it's not in line with reality. It is a projection of a self or a perception you have of something that is based on a trauma, an experience, something that is a conditional belief that isn't in line with the real truth, and it's creating suffering from you. And so there's a freedom that comes with this. So even though we're still maybe having the cigarette, or still reactive, or still doing the thing, there comes a freedom with knowing this, knowing this truth, this spiritual deep knowing that I am connected to everything, that I am pure love here, that maybe I'm not feeling it so much just yet because the inertia of all these actions are still happening. Spirit is pulling through here with your high self that there's going to be a breakthrough moment here. Okay, we just have to shift our perspective now. And so the shifting takes time. We might conceptually know it, but when we deeply believe something, such as I am separate, or there's something out there, like I really believe something out there that I'm lacking, or that is going to make me whole, you believe this to your core. Okay, you really believe it to your core. And so the perception change has to come gradually so that your belief sort of loosens up here. And the more we start to question the loose belief, then the more we start to see that another perspective exists for me. It exists for all of us. And that higher perspective is a beautiful perspective, that I am not separate, okay, and that I am full of love and compassion here for everything and everyone in this moment. We all are. We all have this choice. But we might have not lived it, felt it, or could even choose that path. Okay, we couldn't choose that path because it wasn't available so much because we didn't see it. It was always available. Okay, it was always available. So I feel like the choice here that is free of conflict is when the mind rids itself of all of this untruth, distortion. I am separate, I am lacking, once I have this, or beating ourselves up for doing something here. Okay, so ego is that of the attachment we have, the identity that we put on that behavior, that action. We take ownership over that understanding, and it's a function of the mind body. Okay, the mind body can say whatever it wants to say. Let it say, let it kick up a storm, let it do whatever it's doing inside of you. You don't have to take action on that. Okay, and if you feel the impulse to take action, that's the inertia of the karma. You still have to smoke that cigarette, or you still have to respond to that person in a way that's, reactionary, whatever you do, but you're observing this, and then we start to not have interest in that. Once we do it with full awareness, we don't shun ourselves. We don't say, oh, there I go again, smoking that cigarette. There I go again, responding or snapping to this person, or doing the thing I always do, because now we're letting the ego tie us to that. We identify as that in which we didn't want to do or be. Okay, and so we see it and we say, okay, this is a function of the body that happens. It is out of programming. It's happening. I am aware of it's happening, but the deeper me has a knowing that right here, there is always a choice to show love and compassion for me, for the choice I'm about to make. Is it in line with the greatest good? Is it the healthiest, the most loving thing I can do in this moment for me and for this situation? Or am I very narrow in my perspective right now, seeing through the lens of the trauma, seeing through the lens of the conditioning, seeing through the lens of the thing that I've always seen? So you're cultivating an inner peace here. You're bringing balance within self so that you can bring balance within all of your relationships in your external world. Okay, but if we're too close to it, too close to that behavior, too close to that thought, we can't understand it at a greater level of what's happening. The thought is coming. We're one with the thought. We identify as the thought being me having the thought, and there is no you having that thought. The thought is arising, just like the blood is flowing, just like a craving that might come upon you. It is the universe that's doing this through you. Okay, you're the being that's perceiving what's happening here through your awareness, but it shouldn't be tainted with a lens of some sort of idea, belief. It should just be an open awareness and an observation here. Okay, so to do this, we step back, we make space, and we might need to take some time to create the space here, because that's seeing through that. Once you see through that illusion that you're not the mind, you're not that story, you're not separate. Okay, and maybe we, like I said, conceptualize it, but we don't feel it just yet. We hang on to that understanding we have by keeping that space, and suddenly the space becomes greater, or awareness becomes greater. We start to feel more free, and we start to see above that belief, and then we start to connect to the heart. Then we start to connect to oneness. Then the mind's convinced because we've lived it. It's not just some spiritual concept out there that's floating around of oneness and unity consciousness. We shed the old. We have a renewal. We're more enlightened here. We have an enlightened perspective now. We're no longer in our egoic perspective. I am right, or my need is what I think it is because it's been my experience and this is what I believe to be true. What state of consciousness and mind do we have to be in when we perceive our own idea to be greater than that of the universe? The universe, we can't even comprehend. It is everything all at once. And so we have a single point of perception that is based on the I that we think we are. And so it's very distorted. But there's a whole variety of perceptions out there that can take a look at your situation from all these different angles and come up with a complete different sort of understanding. And they'd all be valid from that perspective. Okay, so you have one perspective, but it's not the true reality. It's just your perspective of how you're engaged here. And it feels very real to you because you're living in this dream state of your existence of the I. But you're bigger than that. Your energy transcends the body, transcends the mind. Okay, and so if we think we're the body and the mind, we sort of identify as that, and then our experience is suffering. And so we can see ourselves in that dream state. We could see that we're sort of awareness watching a body. Okay, and now we're not as identified with it and the pain isn't as great. And so this might take some time to sort of balance out with the temperance here, what that looks like. Have patience on ourselves. And if we fall back or if we start to have those egoic beliefs, we don't say, oh, I suck at this, I'm falling back. I'm feeling separateness again, I'm feeling loneliness again, or I smoked that cigarette again, or I snapped at that person again, or I'm feeling XYZ again, contracting energies again, and now I'm back in the ego, thinking I'm that ego. No. Okay, so it's going to come where we have days where we fall back, but Spirit is showing through your high self here, I need to step back from that perspective. Okay, If you feel it's not expansive, it's not coming from love and compassion. If it feels like it's getting small, contracting, sadness, heaviness, loneliness, separation, jealousy, envy, anger, that's all contracting. It makes you feel small. You know, then it's not coming from love and compassion. It's not expansive because it's not true. The universe is all things all at once. It's not restricted. It's not from one sort of point of perception here, okay? But we can't see that if we're too close. So we step back so we could see it from a greater level of consciousness here. And I feel like Divine's working through you to see this, because I feel like once we're in this state, then we get more aligned with the greater purpose of what we're supposed to be aligning ourselves with, the right people, the right things. But if we're too close to the weeds, so to speak, we get lost in the minutia, you know, in the noise. Spirit, clear and concise message here for the greatest and highest good of pile 1. What are they needing to know from their high self here, Spirit? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 1. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message. Infuse this reading with love and compassion for the greatest and highest good of beautiful pile 1, Spirit. Thank you so much. What is it that pile 1's high self is wanting to communicate to pile 1 right here, right now? Thank you so much. And thank you so much, pile 1, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here doing your reading. So grateful. One more, Spirit. What is it that pile... Feel these two. I'm putting these back. Just wait a minute. Actually, this one. Okay. Let's take a look. What is it your high self's wanting to communicate with you? We have the Magician. I don't read bottom of the deck reverse. This is Virgo, Gemini energy. So, divine timing and communication. We are getting the Wheel of Fortune, divine timing. The Crow with the communication is really giving me this Magician energy. So, I feel like in order to get in line with, because it's defining this as a life purpose here, okay? I feel like our journey is really the purpose we're supposed to be doing here, okay? Some people might find purpose as, you know, accomplishing the thing that we're meant to do here on earth, and that's fine, because you might be aligning yourself on that, well, you are aligning yourself on that path to get closer to that sort of pivotal point, okay? But it's all the purpose. And so we were getting a lot of the masculine energy at first, which was empowerment. So the high self is showing that although we might be guided, and although things are happening and unfolding, we are to use within our own power an ability to make the change in ways that might be stuck or trapped and blocked, including perception. Because awareness is really a shift that we do from the inside, an inner knowing here that takes place, okay? And so although the divine blesses grace upon us for those of us who are awakened or who have, you know, stumbled across certain things that allow us to open our mind, we're very blessed, and God's shown grace, okay? But there is also a level of you utilizing what you need to within your means in order to make a shift. And so this Magician has all of the tools available to create and infuse their life with the change. But I feel like with the Magician, we talk about all the different aspects, the cup, the wand, the sword, okay, the pentacle, because I feel like this shift will change every area of your world. You know, how it is we perceive is now integrated in every situation. You know, our emotions are impacted now because we're not so identified with that thought system. And so we've created space to see our emotions differently. And so now our emotions are impacted. And so we might be taking action differently with the wands and the swords, and how we communicate with people might be a completely different way now. There might be less outward communication, you know, than that of the past, because maybe less needs to be said, or less action, or now we're, you know, knowing where it is that we're supposed to be sort of moving towards. because we've removed a lot of the noise. So I feel like there's a mixture here of the divine, and there's a recognition here of your high self, of your own ability to make the change. Because sometimes we spiritually bypass and just say, I'm going to allow, what is to be, which is great because that's a surrender. And that is the highest form of enlightenment, is just to be. Okay, but when we just be, but we're full of trauma, and our perception is that we are the I, and we are the trauma, and we are this feeling of contraction and this separation and this loneliness. I am that because I feel this way, so I'm going to be. You continuously stew in that lower vibration. The universe doesn't suck you out of there, like, yes, sometimes you can have these great epiphanies, staring at the sunset or experiencing something that taps us into the higher level of frequency, but it takes our full devotion and commitment to making that change of awareness within us. And your high self is saying, you have this ability. And let's not spiritually bypass and just say, I'm going to just, I don't know, do what I always do here, especially if you resonate with the blockage here. And I feel like the blockage here is you still get pulled into contracting energies. And you might say, well, this is human. It's like, yeah, third density human. But when you're enlightened, you're not ever feeling sad and separate and lonely and jealousy and anger. So we don't justify this. This can go right away, like out of you. It doesn't need to be there. Okay, because we're raising the vibration, new earth. So it's a new being that you're cultivating here. Okay, let's not justify old patterns of sadness or separation and say, well, this is what it's like to be human. Well, okay, but we are now spiritual beings that have it within us to take action differently in our world here. Okay, but once we sort of go through this perception change and we balance and find union of self, we've now transmuted a lot of this distorted energy, and now we could just be in this open, beautiful awareness energy. But we can't just be open and aware when we're still connected to the trauma, when we're still being pulled emotionally by things that are creating the opposite of feeling peace and bliss, of just being and letting things, just to allow things to be. Okay. So we have the Page of Water in reverse. This is opening the heart space, and it's in reverse here. And so I'm connecting this back to this life purpose, and even this state we were seeing here with the love and compassion. And on this side of the archway was this energy, even this color is giving that off too. Okay, and in the reverse, it's like I can't create or love in the true way the divine's wanting me to do, in line with the greatest purpose of why I'm here, to manifest that thing, until I transmute whatever this is. Okay, I got to transmute what this is, because it's blocking my heart space from opening. So I can't create that book. Well, I can try, but it's not going to come from that state in which it's supposed to come from. And I say supposed to with air quotes, the flow state of me that's coming from pure consciousness. It's blocked right now because of my relationship with self and how I'm perceiving. And so once I start to twist and perceive how I see this differently and connect to the divine, and know that I'm above the mind with my awareness and seeing with my heart, with an inner knowing, and then I open this heart space. And then that divine path, purpose, person, thing opens up here. But there's a block. Okay, so you're creating, manifesting, and I think what you want to manifest will only sort of manifest in line with the truest part of yourself when the heart space is open in this way. So your high self is giving you the keys to the kingdom right here, what you need to do in order to manifest what it is you're telling me you want. Okay, because you want something here, and it's not going to manifest the way you want. You're going to manifest sort of the same thing. If I'm feeling like I don't have the relationship I want, you're going to manifest more of that. So we don't want to manifest more of the same. We got to change your perspective here and manifest the thing you want. This is like the wake-up call as to what's going to make it happen. And so with all that masculine energy, it's like you, by doing this, And it's not really a doing so much as it really is a masculine form of healing, self-inquiry, taking that observation and then understanding it from sort of the perspective of wisdom and intelligence, okay, spiritual intelligence, rather than conceptual mind, because the mind can't come with a twisted perception to make sense of why it's twisted. Do you know what I'm saying? It can't come from that same perspective in order to see a greater perspective. It has to transcend past that. Okay, so I feel like your high self is saying you're in this identification of mind story, and so we gotta make space, and we gotta take time to step back from this and see it for what it is. And then once we do, and we sit with that for a while until it diffuses, okay, we depolarize that energy, then we can create the thing. Then the heart space starts to open. Okay, so we have the Three of Swords. This is the suffering here, okay? And so Three Swords talks about when we experience something that is unpleasant, that creates a block in the heart space, okay? And so in order for us to heal this, there has to be an active healing, okay? It doesn't just heal by itself. And so this active healing is that masculine energy in order to get to the perception change that we need, okay? And then the feminine energy is more that emotional side where we can do the deep feeling, deep feeling meditation, allowing emotions to be released. That's more feminine healing. But the masculine healing here is really the reflecting and the contemplation, because I feel like the block needs to be healed. And the fact that we have this in the upright, I feel like you are suffering. And I feel like your high self is saying, I recognize the suffering. And again, if some of you guys might be further along in this timeline. So, and this is in my past position, okay? So, but again, wherever you are, maybe you're here still, okay? But if you've gone through something that's blocked your heart space, you might even not know what it is. It's just energy. The heart is blocked, or I just feel the sadness, or I feel the separation, or I feel the anxiety, I feel the envy, I feel the thing that doesn't feel good. You don't need to know why, like why it happened and why you're still sort of there. You just need to recognize when you're feeling it, and then what you need to sort of do in that moment. One, we allow it to feel. Okay, that's the feminine approach. I just allow myself to feel. But if we don't deal with the masculine approach, it's still there. The block is still there. We keep feeling those feelings, So I cry or I let it out. I feel better the next day. And then a week later, I'm back at feeling the pain. My heart's still blocked. So how do we do this? Okay, you have the tools to do this. And the tool to do this is changing the perspective. Because if we keep the same perspective with the traumatized eyes and the programmed point of view that is creating the illusion in the first place, oh, I'm separate, I'm alone, I'm angry, I'm jealous, I'm sad, that's an illusion that you're perceiving to be true, and you're perpetuating heartbreak and heartache and suffering. Okay, so we need to see through this illusion. And so we might see through it, but still not believe it at first. And so your high self is saying, keep seeing through this illusion. It's false. You are one with the Creator. You are loved. Okay, you are loved. You're not separate. You're not a separate being. Okay, so whatever it is that you are wanting or seeing out there is within you. We haven't tapped into this. And so we keep perpetuating this pain. Okay, so we got to balance this out. Seven of Earth. Yeah, we got to put in the energy. Okay, so it's not something that, we always hear people say, well, if it's meant to be, it's going to kind of unfold in some way. And yes, in some way, the universe does put in front of you exactly as you're needing, but the universe is putting this video in front of you to say the energy you put into this practice, being very aware of how you're perceiving things is what's going to make this shift. And so this energy is best expended in where we're going to see change, rather than maybe however we've been doing it in the past. Because I feel like Maybe you are good at feminine healing, you know, maybe you cry out and you feel like you're allowing things to be released here. Oops, paper's fallen from the sky. You're allowing things to be released here, okay? What is it that fell? We got life path numbers. I don't know, maybe someone needs to look at their life path number. Well, we had 22 here. What's 22? Life path 22. Positive traits, humanitarianism and considerate. Humanitarian and considerate. Negative traits, overwork and unemotional. I don't know, maybe that's irrelevant for some of you guys. Okay, now I'm getting off track. So, feminine healing. Maybe you're good at feminine healing, you know? But it's one part of the healing path here. So we need the masculine and the feminine, the union, the temperance, both. Okay? Because then a month later, a week later, you know, a couple days later, I still have that core belief that I'm separate, that no one loves me, or that whatever the thing is, okay? It doesn't have to be as dramatic as that. Whatever it is. Like if it's a contracting feeling, even on a subtle level, this reading's for you. Okay, subtle contracting energy that I'm separate from the divine being. So where's your energy going? You're going to have to commit and dedicate yourself to this sort of practice, if you will. Okay, it might seem like work at first, but it's just seeing through that illusion and being and observing it. 5 of water. Yeah, conflicting thoughts. It says competing goals, bothersome details, conflicting with others. So why it's not smooth out there is because out there is a reflection of what's going on in here. So if I'm not seeing out there bliss and happiness and everything I want and manifesting the things, is because inside of me it isn't flowing. It's still conflicted. And there's still a dualistic sort of thing going on here, okay? Strength. Great inner strength. Release harsh judgments. Forgive and compassion. Right on top of love and compassion. So this could be talking about self here, okay? And this is ego again. And we had strength pulling up here. So what does this mean? This means within me, with this great inner strength, is my true being. Whether I see it or I don't, it's still there. Okay? And so in order to allow it to come through, I have to clear the pathways for it to shine. Okay? And so what are those distortions in that beautiful light? It's judgments of me, judgments of what's going on, and that's what creates the distortion and the lower frequency. And so when I vibrate from compassion, from forgiveness, from true love, this allows this light to burn through a lot of the false things going on here, okay? Because we are feeding a perception here that is untrue, that's keeping it alive. You know, the judgment keeps it alive because the more I'm perceiving it in that way, my outside world keeps reflecting it back to me. Of course it's going to, you know. So we need to interject here. Okay, strength is ego. It's about facing our fears. Leo energy. So here we have the Queen of Water. Relationships develop to a new level. Trust your intuition. Care for yourself and others. In reverse. So this is exactly this, and this. Okay, this is saying, how can I care for others when I'm blocked here? Okay, and maybe this is what you want. Like, you want to create the thing or you want to give the love. And Spirit's saying it's blocked here within self, because whatever you're trying to output right now is actually distorted still. It needs to be unblocked. Okay, it needs to come from a flow state of true compassion and love, which we might have not connected to, especially if we still think we're separate. Okay, and I'm not saying conceptually, I mean feeling separate. Because any feeling that isn't in the highest at any point means you still have a belief that you're separate. Okay, and this is fine if you still carry it, but we need to address it. You need to be aware that you have this belief. And then we need to see it in action. There I go, thinking I'm a separate being because I'm judging. There I go with this impure thought. So I know that I still believe I'm separate because I have this impure thought. I'm witnessing it. But I don't say, oh, there I go again with that impure thought. I'm never going to be the Buddha on the hill, because now you're creating that in which, again, is thinking you're a separate I. And you're judging self. And so, no, you're a pure being here. Okay, pure being that has distortions, just like all of us. And so it's blocking love, it's blocking the intuition, it's blocking the creation, it's creating pain for you. And so your high self saying, you have something to manifest here that you want. Here's the wheel again. Okay, divine inspiration, divine timing, divine flow. The universe is flowing. It wants to work with you. Things will get better. And essentially your high self is coming through with things will get better. Things will move. Okay, but your high self really is hammering this masculine approach of how you perceive, how you're engaged in what it is that you're feeling and going through. You can take a more active approach here in order for things to flow in the direction you want. Okay, like you could certainly do this. So just be very aware of what it is that you're doing and feeling and saying in the moment. 6 of water. So 6 cups. This is person, place, thing of the past. Okay, like a memory. It says memories from your history or childhood, issues regarding children, romanticizing the past. So when I see this always tells me there's a situation that's happened to me. I don't know, past life, when I was a child, whatever. There's something in the shadow. There's something in the darkness. There's some trauma. There's some conditioning. There's some belief. There's some thing within me, okay, that is still being carried within me, that the universe is wanting to bring to the surface for you to see. Okay, now we don't have to get rid of it. We don't have to shove it back down. We don't have to, do anything other than allow the universe to work with us to see the thing that's within us, that pain, that story, that belief. But then we have to start to challenge yourself in a way, not through judgment, but through a higher level of perception here. How am I seeing this? Is it through the eyes of the ego? Is it through the eyes of love and compassion? Through my deeper knowing here, through love. Is it coming through eyes of love, or is love blocked here? So we have to make a conscious effort of being in the loving heart. And yes, you'd think love would just flow naturally, right? Because if it's so beautiful, like love and God are one, you'd think it would just flow, but it can't flow here if there's too much distortion. We have to point to the nose of the love. We have to intentionally infuse the dark spaces with love. And so when we're actively infusing that light in the darkness, then it ceases to be darkness, and it starts to turn the energy to that of love, which becomes reflective on the outside, and less conflict. So now we manifest through love rather than manifesting through the energy of sadness and separation. Okay, and so this is kind of law of attraction stuff, because you really are going to bring towards you the energy vibration in which you're sitting. The more I feel lonely and sad and separate, the more of that I perpetuate. And so, because I'm blocked, because I'm in pain, because of something in the past that it has to be transcended and turned, I keep sort of creating that suffering within me and suffering around me. I'm not getting what I want. I've been investing all this time and energy, but it's not giving me the thing I want. High self says you can have the thing you want. Okay? So we rise above with a greater perspective. Unity. Look at that. So this says traditional viewpoints or methods, spiritual organizations, seek out mentors and like-minded friends. So this is Hierophant, okay, which is coming through as unity. And I feel this is beautiful to close this out. Unity is talking about union. It's talking about oneness. Okay, it's talking about non-duality. It's saying you are not separate, you are one. Okay, and when we inner know it and we cultivate it from a deep knowing and we integrate it into our everyday, our energy changes and things start to shift in our everyday world. We start to understand it because we live it. Okay, it's not a concept. It's not reading it in a book and then forgetting about it and then storming to the grocery store and then being mad that we have to be in line behind 5 people. Okay, so how are we integrating this loving awareness? How are we balancing this out in our everyday sort of catalysts or everyday world events. Okay, so I feel like there's a change that you can manifest in your everyday, this union of self, you know, but we have to get thirsty for this love. We can't complain we haven't manifested the thing yet. Well, we haven't because we haven't been really working with the universe in the way that's been calling us. You know, we have to work with this unity and bring it into balance, come into balance with self, and then we see the changes. Okay, so I think you want to be free. I think you want to not be in suffering. And so I use suffering as a word here, and you might say, oh, not in suffering, but it's feeling separate from the universe. It will give you feelings of contracting energy. You know, I'm always in a state of judgment, or I'm always feeling conflict with people. Yeah, that's suffering. Okay, that's suffering. You don't have to. So, but I feel like the driver here is the thing you want. So maybe you want this peace, you know, more than maybe you feel love for, I don't know, your neighbor. Well, let the peace then drive you, because eventually, I assure you, you'll feel love for the neighbor. But we have to start to getting the wheel to turn. How whatever is driving you. I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't want to be lonely. I want to be in a relationship. Okay, but then we have to now broaden our perspective here and engage at the grocery store in a different way to integrate oneness in our world so that we could pull towards us the right people and the right thing. That's how we manifest. That's how we open the heart, because now I feel love everywhere I go. Okay, I'm not feeling contracting energies. And so then you're in line with your life purpose. Okay, but I feel like this is what your high self is talking. You got to cultivate the inner peace. You got to cultivate that inner awareness. You got to cultivate that inner union. And then you can manifest the thing you want here. Okay, beautiful people. I love you very much. I hope this helped you. I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Hello, hello, gorgeous angels. Pile number 2. You guys picked the peacock perfume scent bottle. Let's take a look at what your high self is wanting to communicate to you right here, right now, through spirit. If you skip the intro, I was talking about how you might want to sit with your intuition throughout the card layout in order to see if this is something that resonates for you. Okay, if there's specific messages, leave those for other individuals that might be pulling through if they don't resonate, but it's the overall energy here that should be resonating with your high self. Okay, so your high self is you. Okay, but it's you without all the programming, distortions, traumas, and perceptions that you might be carrying here. So it's not some faraway version of you that is separate from you that you can never attain. Okay, so if you need to just tap into that beautiful being that's there, that might be filled in a room of particles of shadow, okay, and so the light's not coming through very clear, and so this is what your high self is wanting you to know. Let's take a look. If you feel like you're already tapped into your intuition, you can click straight away on the main reading. Okay, so we have forgiveness. Aww. So we have the indigo. So this is higher levels of consciousness here with the higher chakras, the inner child. We have 55 with entrepreneur. So 55, change is the only constant. That's a master number. Divinely orchestrated change. And so when something is divinely orchestrated, creating all sorts of change, it doesn't necessarily have to be pleasant. Okay, be on the lookout for exciting business opportunities to unfold. Interesting. 5 is all about conflict, loss, change, and rebuild. Okay, and then we have 45 with career transition. Interesting, entrepreneur and career transition. Your soul is yearning for a career aligned with passion and purpose. Wow. Okay, so number 9. 9's about fruition, completion, and fulfillment. So you're looking for fulfillment in our career, in our business, in our purpose, and our passion. The journey, 54. Look at that, you guys. 45, 54, mirrored or reverse numbers. There's a name for that. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, we have mirrored numbers here. You are learning that every challenge you face is a hidden gift inside. Wow. The journey. Okay. Let's move these over. It's got quite a bit of cards. We have smoke, 32. or 5 again. So I got 555. Smoke, where there's smoke, there's fire. I'm talking about passions. Okay, we have 55. Oh my goodness, you guys. I don't pull these. I just ask, you know, what your high self wants to communicate here. So 55. So hammering home. Change is the only constant. Divinely orchestrated change. There you see the serpent. Serpent's all about healing, shedding what's old, you know, being reborn. But we need to shed the old skin. It's also about wisdom. Snake spirit, time to heal. Okay, so fives are about to change and rebuild, but also Hierophant energy, which could be our lifestyle or what we understand and give value to, our beliefs, our lessons. And also it's Temperance energy, Sagittarius energy, about balance and divine, yeah, Temperance is about being divinely guided here. Wow, very strong energy. Okay, new life. Look at that. Shedding the old, being reborn, 39. Number 12. 12 is Hangman, new perspective. You know, being enlightened, seeing things differently, being reborn, new life. Wow. Yeah. Are we closing the door to something and opening up a new door? Duality, many meanings, misunderstanding, 36. And number 9 again. Fruition, completion, fulfillment, hermit, which is know thyself, reflecting, understanding, and also moon, which is about our intuition and our subconscious and feminine energy. Duality, many meanings and misunderstanding. Okay, you guys might be tapping into the energy of pile 1 because this was a lot of what was hammered through for pile 1. Okay, fresh start. Oh my goodness, you guys. Look at this. Where are you guys going? You're being given the opportunity to begin again. Allow yourself to embrace this new life and open up fully to this gift that you're being given. Wow. We have Angel of Balance. So we were getting that through Temperance. I was feeling, I don't know where I was feeling it, but that's the Angel of Balance is the Temperance card. Okay, like we need to be in an energy that allows whatever and whoever we're working with to work with us to create what we need to. But if we're out of balance, then we can't create that third sort of, or the synergy with the stuff we need to. So finding balance within self, healed self. 48. Okay, so 12 again, that's the Hangman energy, Pisces energy, Sagittarius energy. And all of this transition feels like Scorpio energy. So door to personal healing and happiness, 34. So we are going through a doorway here that's open to peace, to harmony. Look at the rainbow. Again, that's change in perspective. And this is healing and happiness. Beautiful angel healing. All about healing. Beautiful. Okay, and then it's a standing stones passage. Oh my goodness. Passage. So you have number 40. 40 is the number 4. Stability. Planning. She's wearing red. Red could be symbolic of the root chakra. And she's her back turned here. Okay, it's also giving me passion, you know, this passion, this purpose. And she's wearing red too, which I didn't notice. Filled with passion. Filled with fire. I don't know if she's holding the skull, which is shedding the old. Transition into the new life. Going through this doorway. Oh my goodness. Look at this reading, you guys. Ooh, jeepers, creepers. Look at this reading. So here she is. This is healing sounds. She has this halo of enlightenment. You're really getting the upper chakras here with the indigo. And she's naked, so she's in an energy of humility, vulnerability, surrender, pureness, healing sounds. Okay. And here we have gateway. You guys, holy camole. Door to personal healing, happiness, passage, and gateway. this is very intense. Okay, let me sit here with this energy, and then we will pull some tarot as well. Hopefully we can unpack this message from your high self. You can click straight away on the channeled message. Okay, pile number 2. What a profound reading we have here for you. Okay, you're really going into this doorway of a new world here. It's a new you, a new opportunity here. So some of you guys might have completely moved continents. You know, you had to change your job, your whole environment's changed here. Okay, now I feel like there is an energy, and it was coming through in the card layout here, that this is something that is sort of happening. You know, it's sort of just happening for you. It's not like all of a sudden, I don't know, like I don't know. I feel like it's just happening. It's part of your journey. It's really guiding you towards this. Like, this is really in line for what it is you're supposed to experience here. Okay, but I feel this is really talking about giving you that sense of purpose, that sense of passion, that sense of newness here. Because I feel like behind the door, behind this transition, there was a feeling of feeling very weighed down. You know, feeling very weighed down, or there's a lot here that is needing to be sort of healed. And so this whole thing is happening in order for you to sort this out. You know, although this new environment or this new experience, you know, like some of you guys, it's a complete career shift, and you're following your passions and your hobbies, and it's just a complete different environment. And so it feels like you're very removed from the old life here. And but your high self is really talking about this is healing the part of the old self here that, you know, is was weighing you down, or was not in line here with your highest state. So it wasn't allowing you maybe to follow through with certain things that were pulling at you, or it wasn't allowing you to manifest whatever you truly want. And so this change is going to align you with the best possible environment and the best possible outcomes here in order for you to align with what is meant for you. Okay, but I feel like you have done a lot of work on self, okay, with this forgiveness. And I feel like this environment is going to, like, take a look at this. I feel like it's been a long time since you felt like this, is kind of what I feel. I can't even put this into words. So I don't feel secure by my environment. I don't feel safe or loved or supported. I feel not like this. And so I feel like the universe is turning this so that you can feel like this, you know, and heal parts of yourself here that have been very challenging for you. And it could be, you know, from an early age here, or just tough situations that have been very difficult. And so I feel like with this smoke, sometimes this could signify like a need to sort of act right away. And that's what I was saying. Like, I feel like the universe was pulling you out, or doing this like specifically to get you to move, or to get you out of a situation here. Like, it needed to be pulled, you know. And so this maybe you were pulled by this intensity, you know, this intense passion, or this intense thing that was really aligning you towards the doorway here to find this peace. And look at this unicorn, okay, and this dove in white. This is all about pureness, okay. And the unicorn is sometimes talking about like a once in a lifetime experience, or being at the right place at the right time, you know. And so it's coming from a pure state of desire and purpose. And I feel like you're about to create something here that you couldn't have created in the old environment with the old people, or the old job, or the old state. And so the synergy has to be right for you to create the thing, okay? Because I feel like in this environment that you're transitioning to, you can feel safe. You can feel like you don't need to be guarded, or you don't need to wear the same jacket, okay, or the coat, whatever coat you were wearing, or whatever it was, that energy that you had to encompass. You don't have to here. Okay, the only thing that you can sort of lean on here is your own desire and passion. So I feel like there's a starting from the ground up here. And I think it's something that might be very scary, especially if you were already well established in your older life or the past you version. But if there is, I don't see any fear here, but I'm just putting two and two together that when we start anew, when we start like an infant here, it could be sort of intimidating or challenging or scary, or we might not know what to expect. And your high self here is saying, expect peace, expect a change in perspective, expect the healing, expect opportunities that you won't believe, once in a lifetime things. Expect there to be protection here in a way that you can be vulnerable and open and feel safe. Like this will allow you to shed the coat. This transition will allow you to get in line with purpose and passions. And so if you wanted to, work on your business, for example, here, it's going to align you with that. Or if you wanted to, have a career shift here towards something that would open up your purpose and your passion, this is what's happening here. So this path is pulling you towards this beautiful area, okay, an area of transition. But I feel like it's like it's not even a tunnel. It's like one day you're here and the next day you're starting your new life. It's so quick here. I don't know, like are we completely like leaving continents here? Let's see, because I feel like there's a significant change here. And it's an opportunity for everything to sort of get in line. But it's like one day you just wake up and everything's just different here. And now we're in prime energy here to create. So Spirit, what's going on here for pile number 2? Can we tap into pile 2's high self? What is this message for pile number 2, Spirit? Please infuse this reading with love. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2. What is this message from pile 2's high self? What are they needing to know? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message. Ooh, we dropped some. I will see how they fell. So they fell face up. I do feel we will read these. Okay. So, bottom of the deck. Ace of Swords. Truth. Action. And this is through adversity. We can now see clearly. So I feel like there has been adversity for sure, because time to heal. I feel like shedding the coat or leaving the past behind or whatever, there's an urgency here, or was an urgency to change things or to leave or to move or to change. Okay, I feel there was an urgency because something hurt, or it was like, now I can embrace the truth. So I feel like now we can see clearly. It's like, yeah, it might have hurt, or yes, it might have been a tough decision, or whatever the thing you had to urgently do, because maybe you're really pulled to something greater. And I think you were pulled more by seeing the truth or understanding or embracing an action in order to bring you closer to authenticity. Okay, so brilliant new ideas and inspirations, seeing the truth of a situation, a challenging beginning. So I think the transition is short now to this new beginning. I don't feel as though the beginning is going to be challenging. I feel like the challenge that you are experiencing is going to remain until we pull the trigger and walk through this new beginning. Okay, because why I'm reading it like this is because there's a lot of you guys here, and I don't know where you're at in your, in your journey timeline, because some of you guys might still have both feet in the old world here, and maybe you're not seeing, like it getting any better, or like there's a sense of urgency building up in some way, and it's getting too smoky. So we're not quite sure. And Spirit's saying through your high self that the doorway is instant you know, once you walk through it. So if you're contemplating a move, or if you're contemplating a change, or whatever it is like instant life change here. And I feel like that decompresses all the challenge. You leave the challenge behind, you know, but we might fear that it might be scary, maybe, you know, obviously, like I was talking about that fresh start. Like if I'm an infant, if I'm learning again, if I have to leave what I've built, like there's a lot of heaviness there, right? And so I feel like that fixed thing, we can leave sort of where it's at, but we could still experience this new experience. Yeah, it's like two things are sort of coexisting here. Let's see. Because I feel like there's something maybe I'm not seeing here. So 9 of water in reverse. Your wishes come true, concerns fade away, a love life. So the 9 of cups talks about our wishes being fulfilled, you know, being emotionally satisfied and fulfilled. So it's blocked here. And I feel specifically talking about this where it says concerns fade away. I feel like there's a concern here that we're still uneasy about. And I feel like once we cut out the thing in which is heavy, the thing that's creating the discomfort, then things align. But I feel like maybe we got it flipped. Like I'm still going to deal with the thing that's creating all sorts of smoke and havoc. I'm still going to wear that coat. I'm still like doing that. It's like, no. Let all that old stuff go away, because it's not emotionally fulfilling to you right now. And so there might be some trepidation or some fear or some hesitancy about the fresh start, or that, you know, that's taking that trip or moving to that new world. Like, but that's where the freedom is. That's the new opportunity, you know, once in a lifetime, aligned with pureness, aligned with that beautiful feeling I was telling you about, supported. And I don't know, like maybe you feel like it'd be scary, you know, or tough or something, but it's like, yeah, but look at this rhinoceros with this child. It might appear tough, but it's safe and it's welcoming, and it's, I don't know, it's worth it. I feel here it's worth it. Okay, so we have the 7 of fire, 7 wands, and the 10 of swords. So 10 swords talk about an ending, a painful ending, but the unicorn's coming in full force here. So beautiful pile too. I feel like we put an end to something. Okay, we don't have to fight. We don't have to be us against the world. We don't have to fight for what's ours. I feel like when we put an end to something here in our world that I feel you're still sort of going through, there's an urgency to make change. Okay, and the minute we sort of allow that to fall, or release whatever the thing is here, or forgive the thing, and walk through the new, allow ourselves to have this fresh start, I feel like the opportunities come through in a way here that's like a multitude of blessings, a multitude of experiences here. And this is like once in a lifetime that could be blocked if we still stay where we're at. So I feel like your high self is saying, put an end to having to fight for your current situation. There is no need to fight. It's not emotionally fulfilling. See the truth, take action in the truth, and then lean into that, because it's going to happen quickly for you in this way when you lean in with the truth and clarity, rather than fight for the thing that I feel is emotionally unfulfilling here. So we have the Queen of Fire in reverse. That's Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We have Renewal, which is the Awakening card, Judgment. Okay, review and evaluate. A favorable assessment of the facts. Time to move in a new direction. All over your reading. 4 of Earth, 4 Pentacles in reverse. Letting go. Yeah, letting go. Okay, not staying in the comfort zone, not seeing what we'll miss out on, seeing things for what it is, accepting truth, taking action on that, and then letting go. 9 of Fire in reverse, so not being defensive and potentially surrendering, you know, just surrender to the universe. Allow yourself to put an end to what you need to. Don't need to fight. Okay, these cards are saying the same thing. Like, we don't need to fight against certain people or situations, you know, fight to protect ourselves. It's like, put down your wands, put down the wall, put an end, And I feel like maybe you feel like it would be very, very painful to do so. Okay, but the truth is that the minute you do this, look at all these opportunities of abundance that come through with these unicorns, like once in a lifetime opportunities. I feel like they come in because the act of surrendering says, I trust the universe to allow the blessings to come to me. And so now it's like flowing in, but I think we're resisting or fighting or still keeping up something here. So 10 of Cups in reverse, Ace of Cups, 4 of Wands, and the Sun in reverse. Oops, and the Sun in reverse. So we have Leo energy. So what does this mean? I'm emotionally fulfilled. Therefore, anything that I work with, anyone I work with, my environment, I can't find happiness there. I have to be in full fulfillment in order for me to come together with another to create an environment here, the full fulfillment of a 10 cups. Okay, this says a contented and rewarding family life. Your emotional and material needs are met. Trustworthy relationships. So this could be blocked if I'm blocked. Okay, so we come to this realization. I want to come to this realization. We say, I choose self. I choose self-love. I choose to fill my cup. This is all about self-love and a new emotional beginning. And sometimes the way of showing this is closing the door to something that seems off or painful or feels like I'm fighting for or protecting myself against. I surrender here. Okay, so this is falling in love or the resurgence of a relationship, spiritual growth, and enhanced intuition, a new home. So all over your reading is a new world here for you. I feel like it's emotionally new. I feel like if you were looking for a new relationship that is emotionally fulfilling, I feel like by doing this move, this action is opening up a multitude of options here for you in that realm. Okay, if let's say you're looking for a job wherever you're at and it's stagnant, I feel like this move is going to open up a whole bunch of opportunities here for creativity, for you to have a bunch of choices when it comes to career. Okay, or if you were looking to open up your business and you're like stuck for whatever reason, this investment of change in this new world here will open up a multitude of options for you and how to run your business or where your business is going to be sort of driven from. I feel like there is a lot of opportunity that opens up in the recognition that I need to see my situation as something that's unpleasant and allow it to close so that this new life can emerge without any sort of trepidation. Okay, so this is about union. This is about celebration. This is a rite of passage. This is coming together to create the stability, the foundation, so I could build on it. Okay, contentment, peace, and abundance. A happy home life, the successful completion of a project. So we allow ourselves to create the foundation here by the community in which we surround ourselves with. And so if we are surrounded by a community that it doesn't feel like it's emotionally fulfilling, or a job here that doesn't fulfill me in some way, the more I sort of stay in that environment, the more it challenges me. And so I feel like there is your high self saying a new beginning is on the horizon here, instantaneously aligned with the structure you're wanting to build. It's rising here. You're not seeing it. Oops. You're not seeing it potentially just yet as your be-all sort of happiness, because I feel like you haven't transitioned into that just yet. And your high self is saying it's instant. And you find peace instantly. Okay, so I don't know. Are you humming and hawing in a situation? It's like, I'll stay there a little longer, a little longer, a little longer. But it's like, like the frog in the hot water. And for those of you guys who like the analogies, it's like the frog is in the pot of cool water, okay, and it sits in there, and then you start to turn the heat on the stove. I don't like this analogy so much because even my mind doesn't want to hurt any frog, but it's the analogy I know. When you turn the heat, you know, and the water starts getting hotter and hotter, and the frog stays in there, and it sort of burns to death here because it doesn't realize that the gradual heat that the water is getting hotter and hotter. It's like the smoke analogy. Whatever your career, your business, your relationship, your environment, the people around you, your community, I don't know, the thing you're in, okay? You're like this frog. And I feel like you don't even realize that you might have been in this sort of fight or flight or complete defensive energy. Like, it's exhausting, you know? And so the frog, if you put him in hot water, he jumps out right away. And he's going to realize the temperature and the environment. But if it's slow, conditioning, okay? So slowly conditioning, I don't know, you've accepted something here that hasn't produced. And so your high self is saying the sun comes, okay, your happiness comes, but you will see this. You have to put yourself in there. You have to allow yourself to move towards this. And you take the sword of truth and you act in truth and you speak truth and you move towards truth. Okay, so beautiful new beginning here for you. This is a new beginning. Okay, this is like a rite of passage that allows there to be a new beginning. Like when we get married, it's now the life, you know, after the wedding. Okay, new beginning, Ace of Cups. So this is like a pivotal point. And we have that everywhere with the door, this Four Wands, this gateway, and this passage. It's all saying the same thing here. It's under that Three Pentacles. Yeah, to create and manifest the thing. So the right people, the right workplace to manifest in the 3D world. Okay, the power of creativity, recognition for a high quality work, be a team player. So if I cannot, it doesn't matter then who's around me because I will not be able to work with them or create with them. If I can be emotionally happy and fulfilled, then I can extend this to everyone and everything I work with, and then we manifest in the 3D. We work together. But if I'm blocked, if I can't fill my cup, then it stays in this sort of smoky energy. You know, this is what I feel like you're aligning yourself to, according to your high self. Okay, so allow to close what you need to. The abundance here is coming through, and I feel like it's opportunity that is very magical here with this unicorn, you know, like maybe very unexpected for you. I don't think you see it, and I feel like it's not just one. I feel like it's a flat, ooh, my doorway, on my doorbell, doorway. I'll be right back. That scared me. I don't know. They rang and then they left. I don't know, but I said doorway. Like all of this is talking about an archway, a portal, a doorway, a gateway, let's take a look because I feel there's something very strong coming through with the unicorn, the doorway. Gosh, I keep doing that, don't I? Okay, let's take a look at what is this sort of opening here, because I feel you're hesitant or you don't quite see the good just yet, you know? But I feel like there's a lot of good flowing through here, and I feel it's exactly what you're wanting to experience, but maybe we have some doubt about leaving the old world behind here to have this fresh start, you know, and maybe you have an opportunity in front of you to have the fresh start and you might be denying it. Okay, so Spirit, through pile two's high self, can we take a look at what is that unicorn energy and this doorway or this gateway? What's on the other side of this gateway? Doorway, new life, new beginning, fresh start. Can we get a sneaky peek at what exactly this is all about? A good shuffle. Okay. What can pile two expect here on the other side of this gateway passage? Thank you so much, Spirit. I feel one more, two more, three more. I'll put that like this then. Okay, So we have the Emperor. Wow. Empowerment. Organization and logic, structure, discipline, leadership. Four of Wands is definitely structure. So we have the Hermit in reverse, Virgo energy. Three of Pentacles again. Ace of Cups in reverse. And the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Air. Look at all of the unicorns again. 8 swords. And we have the Empress. Oh my goodness. And we have the Six of Fire. 6 Wands in reverse. Okay. Let me sit with this energy and see what messaging your high self is pulling through here. And under the Emperor, we have strength. So Leo, Aries, Taurus, Libra, Virgo. Okay. So, beautiful people. Emperor and Empress. Divine counterparts. Balance of masculine, feminine energy here. A coming together. We saw 4 Wands. Sometimes that is even my 1111 union card. Okay, so it could be our other half or divine partner. Okay, coming together here. For those of you guys who see this as a relationship read. But I feel like there's a lot of career that's pulling through here with the entrepreneur, career transition, and this 8 Pentacles. So I feel like there's a shift here, okay, of aligning yourself with the right fit for you at this point in time to follow your passion will put you in line with the right partner, the right people, the right support, the right balance within self. I feel like it is absolutely aligned for you to then connect with the right person here, whether it be in business or romantic or a marriage. It doesn't really matter here so much, because I feel like you haven't felt successful on your path here, okay? Because I feel like your high self is really talking about self-love, filling one's cup, allowing yourself to have an emotional new beginning here, because our environment has been very difficult. And so on the other side of this beautiful doorway or pathway is partnership and working together and finding balance and creating synergy, creative energy where things were stuck, you know, where we had limitations because our own belief system was limiting us. So we have a lot of ego cards here as well with the 6 of Fire, the Emperor, the Strength card. Okay, and so it could be that we had to burn certain belief systems or identify certain attachments that were keeping us stuck with beliefs and limitations that wasn't allowing us to produce in the 3D world here. Okay, and so this is the most dedicated card when it comes to energy and dedication and staying to task and commitment and effort. Okay, it's the work card. So I feel like there's something very practical about the shift. You know, if it's moving to a new job, it's like you moving to this job, being committed to this shift allows yourself to come out of any state here where I feel like maybe you are removed, you know, like you needed to know thyself in some way here that wasn't coming in your environment. And so now we can know thyself because we have ample amount of opportunity here to reflect back to us where our limitation is with the 8 swords. But in the environment we were at, maybe it was like, you know, not allowing us to be the master of self, you know, and overcome some sort of self-discovery we were really needing to do that was really trapping us. You know, the mind, the ego, the mind story, the limitation, the thought, whatever it was that it was in our environment, it didn't allow us to produce. And so now it's like, yeah, I could produce the thing, you know, and I recognize here where maybe I had big blocks in my emotional happiness here, you know, where I needed to emotionally heal. Well, what was abundant here, know about self-love and boundaries and what does success look like and what is egoic and what do I find valuable and, you know, what actually is a limitation of my mind. So now we feel empowered. We're not at the mercy, you know, of our situation or the limitation. So I feel like we just see it differently and it manifests differently. And so if we felt, I don't know, not like this, not supported, now it's like now people come out to support us. Now there is this change in the energy here, which I feel in your current set of circumstances, it wouldn't allow that to flow with the Eight of Swords. Like, we have to experience something different in order for things to shift. And this is the opportunity for things to shift here, because I don't think you've seen the manifestation in the 3D world of something here that you can call your own or cultivate or a value. You know, it was too lopsided or distorted. And so if you were needing to create that thing with someone, it's like that someone wasn't there, or that thing wasn't available, or that business partner wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't successful, or it didn't happen, or you weren't seen, or I don't know, you weren't appreciated. Ace of Earth, yeah, it wasn't manifested. So, beautiful people, you're at the precipice of a big change. If you're hesitating, the message your high self is saying, surrender, trust. Okay, if there is a vision you have of what you want to do day in, day out, a career, a workplace, you might think, is, well, that has nothing to do with maybe my personal life. And your high self is saying it has everything to do with it, because this is a shift. Okay, like it's a domino effect or a butterfly effect, whatever you want to call it, because right now there's limiting thoughts and a limiting way that you engage that doesn't allow there to be shifts. And so abundance is yours. Okay, and success could be yours, but I feel like we haven't experienced the manifestation because we haven't seen it within self. And so first we got to see it and harness it and integrate it in self, and then we start to experience it. That partnership, that relationship, that business, the success in work, the creativity, knowing ourselves better. But if we're removed and in the same situations, we don't start to have those deep, profound understandings, you know? So this is what's happening, because I feel like I said at the beginning, like Spirit is pulling you sort of in a way here that just no matter what you do, it's not going to work smoothly in old circumstances. The new situation is what's going to align you on this journey, you know, the journey here that's unfolding in front of you in order to create. And we have to welcome and flow with it. Okay, beautiful pile number 2. This is your reading. I'll see you at the next one. Bye-bye. Hello, hello, gorgeous angels. Pile number 3. You guys picked the goose feather. Let's take a look at what is it that your high self is wanting to communicate to you. Now, if you skip the intro, I communicated that your high self isn't some faraway version of you. Okay, your high self is the greatest awareness of consciousness, pure consciousness of yourself that isn't tainted with all of these programs and traumas and distortions. Okay, so this state of you exists, and it's coming through with a communication here for you. Let's see what this is. I do ask you use your own intuition, what you'll see, feel, or hear to determine whether this messaging is right for you and vibrating in the right frequency. Okay, don't force any of the messages to fit. If they're very specific, that could be for someone else. If it doesn't resonate, it's the overall energy of this reading that should resonate for you. Okay, so you can skip straight away to the channeled reading if you are in tune with the intuition. But if not, then let's get through the layout and see what's coming through. So we have complacency with the red ray, which is root chakra. Okay, complacency. Maybe we're feeling complacency, or maybe this is a block we're unaware of in our root chakra. Okay, let's see. And we have self-love. Number 3, you're learning that your capacity to love others is directly related to your ability to love yourself. Okay, so 3 is all about growth, relationships, initial success. 3 is also Empress energy, divine feminine, unconditional love. My cat's playing with a leaf. What do you want? I'm going to grab the leaf. Give me 1 second. Don't do that. I want to eat that. Okay, let's keep going. Now we have 10, trust and forgiveness. It is time for you to let down your guard and learn to trust again. So 10 is all about completions and ends of cycle. Okay, and then we have visionary with 40. You are learning to synthesize all of your creative ideas into action. Okay, interesting. We have copper, number 23, or the number 5. 5 is about conflict. loss, change, and rebuild. Copper needs to be maintenance. We got some patina here, so it could get discolored over time. Copper, okay. And we have my cat scratching at the door. I'm going to let him out. Give me 1 second. So all these distractions, maybe you guys feel distracted here. Okay, so horse spirit, freedom is yours, 33. So 33, master number, about reproduction, creativity, humor, Christ consciousness, joy, and also about harmony. Freedom is yours. Okay, and we have 54, skunk spirit, know your worth. Oh, I got self-love, know your worth. 54, the number 9. 9's about completion, which we had 10 here about completion as well. Fulfillment. Okay, exchanging gifts, 27, or the number 9 again. Exchanging gifts. We've got a cat. Open box. And we have hidden knowledge, Akashic records, and silent understanding. Well, 9 came out twice. And 9 is about the hermit energy. Okay, hermit's all about knowing thyself. We have hidden knowledge, could be high priestess energy or hermit energy. Silent understanding, 52, or the number 7. And we have open up. You're being asked to open your heart to another, to let down your walls and trust that they want what's best for you. Trust and forgiveness. Your life will open up in wonderful ways once you decide to open up. We don't open up because we don't know we're worthy of it, don't know your worth, or deserving of it. And I think we're going to read this copper. I feel like there is a gift here, and all this pink's talking about self-love as well. I'm feeling this rose quartz. Okay, so we have 10. 10, 10. Storm warning. Look at that twister and lightning. This lightning could be symbolic of Uranus energy, Aquarius. Tower, sudden. Storm warning. Okay, and then we have crystal cave with trust again. So where did we get trust? Yeah, trust and forgiveness. Trust. Amethyst could be about spiritual knowing. Number 9. 3 9s now. Fruition, completion, fulfillment. Hermit, and also moon. Moon's about subconscious and emotions. Here's the big old moon. So there might be a lot of fear here, or something deep in the subconscious in regards to emotions that might need to be healed or looked at. Spiritual knowing or understanding. I mean, inner understanding of ourselves, you know. Okay, we have embrace. 2 people hugging each other. This looks to me like forgiveness. Okay, and then finally we have solitude. So hermit energy. This is being on our own. Okay, so Virgo energy with that. Let me read this copper. I'm getting called to read this. And 23. 23. So, fertility, womb, and Venus. In ancient times, on an island called Cyprus, copper was mined extensively to make vessels and tools. This island is the same fertile ground of Aphrodite, the goddess associated with the planet Venus and the forces of love, pleasure, and fertility. Such is the magic of copper. This golden-hued metal elicits delight and mystique, even a sense of awe. The copper card marks the arrival of Eros into the laboratory. It is likely the alchemist has been hard at work for too long, prioritizing scholarly pursuits over sensual pleasure. Get ready for a shift of priorities, for an awakening of the heart and the life-generating centers of the body. In the true alchemy experiment, nothing is excluded or separate from the work. Being bring sensuality into the fold and embrace it with reverence and curiosity. Aphrodite smiles upon you. Chocolate contains copper. It does? Interesting. So I was drawn to the patina and the need for maintenance, and I feel like there's a need for the maintenance in the of ourself, because I feel like we need to be able to be accepting, of love, and make this change. Okay, so your message is coming through quite clear. Let me sit here with this energy before I pull the tarot, and then if you want to go straight away to your reading, you can click on the channeled message. Okay, beautiful pile number 3. I feel there is a little bit of a push-pull within you. I feel the solitude, and then I feel there is a connection. I do feel this is a relationship reading here, okay? Lots of love, but it goes deeper than just a relationship, okay? Because I feel like we need to understand the relationship we have with self in order for us to be available to be engaged in relationship with another. And so I feel like there is a challenge potentially with another because there's a challenge within self. Okay, and so there has to be some sort of groundwork that's created in order for us to be available and for us to be able to come in sort of an energy that's workable and open, And so I feel like there's a part of self here that is still blocked when it comes to opening up ourselves to love, because when we strip it all away, we have a difficult time being open, vulnerable, and trusting, because at the core, there's something within self that we feel maybe isn't worthy of love, or we can't love self in some sort of way, or we don't feel deserving. Okay, and so I feel like this needs to be resolved or reflected on or understood deep within. And so there might be a lot of fear around the external experience, or we might have experienced storminess in the past, or we might be experiencing storms again, where we feel out of control. And so your high self is talking about this storm warning is something that could happen spontaneously, just like a storm. It could be something that happens here. And so what we need to be able to do is identify that we could work on our own energy, so when the storm does come, it doesn't throw us for a loop. Because I feel like there's sort of a blend of messages pulling through, and I'm going to try to do my best to keep this sort of coherent for you. One, your high self is saying you're deserving of love and being intimate and sharing and trusting. And if we can't do this, it's because we've experienced struggle. And so there's a way for us to heal this part of self by really understanding, leaning into the fear and the subconscious, recognizing this about self, and knowing, okay, within us that we are worthy, and then seeing when the thought comes up that doesn't support this knowing, and it's feeding the same behaviors and patterns, okay? Because I feel like we cover up with certain behaviors and patterns, and it feels like it's our comfort zone. It might be the thing we always do, instead of being open and trusting and vulnerable. Maybe we put up a wall, we pull away, or we do something here that doesn't allow there to be a natural flow, and then that causes a storm. And the storm is now it cascades to a trigger response. Maybe whoever we're engaged with sees this as maybe conflict or whatever happens in the 3D world because of this sort of reaction. And so we could prevent this storm in some way, okay, by dealing with that first. And then your high self is also saying that storms sometimes happen even when we do all this work. And it's like, how prepared are we to navigate in this storm, to weather the storm, if you will depend on the work and the trust we have within self. And so there's a part of self that has to be strong on its own. Okay, so it's not going to find this strength from anyone out there. Okay, so it's not like I need to find the right relationship or the right support out there that's going to constantly make me feel in a certain way, or else it's the wrong one, or else it means I shouldn't open up, or it's not aligned. No, what your high self is saying that every situation could be the right one, to certain degrees. Maybe there's certain people we might not have chemistry with, yada, yada, yada. But there's many, 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 many people that we can have relationships with that could be very solid. Okay. And the storm will still come. So we have to stand on our own, fulfilling whatever it is that we feel someone else is going to bring to us that is lacking. Because as long as we don't fix this, we're going to externally think that this is going to be filled or supported by someone out there, and we're always going to be disappointed when the storm comes. And just like nature, the storm comes. There's a conflict, there's a disagreement. This person might do something. Okay, and when I say might do something, it doesn't have to be like cheat. Maybe they do something here that's very innocent, but it's their own projection or their own trauma or their own thing here that doesn't jive with us. And so if we're sensitive, if we read into it, if we think that they're independently trying to hurt us or do something, away from us or to divide us or whatever, it's because we haven't reflected and built our own legs. So there's a need to understand our own self-worth, build our own legs, be completely whole and fulfilled on our own. And this doesn't mean I have to be alone forever, and so I got to learn to be okay without a relationship forever for the rest of my life. Okay, this just means I have to reach that state before I can engage peacefully in a relationship. I can't go engage in a relationship when I haven't done this work, because I'm going to experience the storm. And so your high self is saying that you have a desire potentially, or you have a vision, or you have an understanding of something you want to experience, and that's fine. And it might be okay for some time, or conceptually, a relationship. Of course, conceptually, that sounds good. But the reality is that there's storms that happen, and storms that have happened, storms that will happen when we least expect it. Even if we expect it, we might create the storm. The other person might create the storm. Either way, the storms are happening. And so we can minimize the amount of storm we create by strengthening our own sort of understanding about self and embracing our own self-love and knowing our self-worth and being open. And so now we minimize the amount of storm we create, but there will always be a storm between your energy and another energy here. And it's like, how do we stand in that storm? So I feel like there is a need to fully work with self and understand about self here completely, in way of love and giving it to self and trusting self and forgiving self and all of this, in order for us to be able to extend this to another. So if we are right now in a situation where we can't forgive other, I don't care if you're in a connection right now or have been in one or whatever, if there's any pending relationship that we can't lean into it, your high self is saying it's because of your relationship with self is in a state where you haven't forgiven yourself. And you might not even recognize or see this because you're too outwardly focused on it not working with this person or relationships of the past. And so we seek someone else or something else, and so we're in the perpetual sort of finding of this thing. And so your high self is saying, not only do you deserve to be happy and experience beautiful relationship here, you don't need to run away from it or block it out or come to an understanding that you're undeserving or it will never work for you. And so if we are in an energy here of shifting our focus onto something else without healing this, your high self is saying this thing is still here to heal. You don't have to focus on a relationship, because I feel there's a collective blend here that I got. Some people who experienced unpleasantries in connection, and so therefore now maybe I feel like connection is not for me. I don't need to be in a relationship or whatever. I'll just shift away from that, or I'm just going to focus on this thing, and this is what it means to surrender. Focus on my work, focus on my thing. But it's like, no, like your high self saying, yeah, you could do that, but let's not use that as sort of an escape here. The thing that needs to be looked at is how you engage in relationship and connection within self. Okay, and sometimes it takes being in a relationship to see self in action. to correct self, to see self. But if we're so attached to that person in a way that only sees that person's actions, then we're externalizing and we're saying it's about to that person, or that person doesn't know how to love me, or I don't know how to deal with that person. Okay, but we're sort of skewing it, and we need to start examining self in a way that says, why do I feel or engage in this way with this person? What within me am I observing right here? What sort of fears are being pulled from within me when I'm around this person? What sort of responses are coming out? Okay, and so I feel like we have to be very silent in how we observe this, without judgment, make space between us and the action, not project onto that other person for doing things here that are hurtful. You know, how do we act when things don't go right? What's my first response? And then really sit in contemplation here. Why did I respond in the way that I did? What was the ultimate meaning of this thing? Because when we peel it right back, we're going to go all the way back to self, and we're going to recognize here that we don't know our full self-worth, which is creating a challenge when it comes to opening ourselves up to being vulnerable, exposed, trusting another, and forgiving another, because we're having a difficult time doing that within self. So everything out there is happening within you. And so what your high self is saying is you could be free of this. You could be free of this. You could be liberated, and you can enjoy a beautiful relationship here. And even when storm comes, we can still experience this beautiful relationship, because it doesn't control us in a way that it used to in the past, throwing us about. You know, we're at the mercy of how this person engages or responds or throws us to and fro. And we are trusting in our own sort of energy here in order to hold strong, because we know our self-worth and we trust ourselves to get through. And so this is the biggest blessing we can give to another, being in that state, so we can receive that state. And so now out there reflects what's going on the inside. I feel like there is a need to do this work, and I feel like we're just wallowing in victim mentality. And it could be either the pain didn't get deep enough for us to do this work, okay, or we experience some turbulence, you know, the storm is gone, and we say, okay, but we still didn't learn at the core what it was we were supposed to. Okay, so I feel like your high self is saying we can experience this again if we don't heal and reflect on this. Like we really need to peel back the layers to work on this thing, or else we're just going to experience this thing again, and we're actually not free. Yes, the situation might have liberated us in that moment. You know, maybe things got easier with that person for some time being, or what have you. But inside, there's still blocks here when it comes to opening up and forgiveness and allowance and trust and openness. And so maybe it's easier for us to wallow in what hurt us, or stay in that energy, because now there's so much inertia in that pain. And so to take the effort to step out of that, it takes a lot. But you're being asked to do this from your high self in order to heal and trust, so you can attain the vision you actually have. Because I feel your high self is saying you have a vision of something you want. I feel you want happiness in a relationship. I feel you want connection here like this. You know, like true connection, embrace, like true vulnerability. Two people, vulnerable, open, there's nothing between them. They're naked and they're trusting and they're pure. Okay, so to get to this state, I don't think we can get here where we're at. It doesn't matter who's in front of us and what they're doing. Doesn't matter. Okay, that's always going to be revolving. And if it's not revolving, it could be one person here, but it's never going to get better or change. And there's always going to be the storm. And so you could change that face with a million people, and your high self keeps saying, pile 3, there's something going on within you. It's time to not look at the person that's in front of you, or the situation, or what had happened in the way you are. It's time to go within. It's time to get silent. It's time to know and trust that what you want, what you see for yourself, is possible. But freedom has to happen here within self in order for this to align. And you need to truly understand and feel a knowing of your self-worth. and feel this self-love and allow yourself to connect sexually, sensually, and from a place here of intimacy and vulnerability, by true opening up, not kind of guarded, not kind of anticipating a storm where I can block someone out or keep them sort of at a distance or see what they do first, because then we're still not trusting. And so I feel like this will come through reflection and time, but leaning into it and tapping into this, not making excuses or still seeing something from it not working externally. Okay, so let's ask what your high self is wanting. I'm going to put this one back, but let's see. This one was popping out as the moon. Important psychic insights, events behind the scenes, release fears that hold you back. So we did feel moon here, Cancer, Pisces, and it was coming in the reverse. So yeah, a need to do the looking at the subconscious, a need to peel back the fears, because I feel like we're seeing things from a distorted lens when the moon comes out. We're not seeing reality. The people we experience in the relationships we are experiencing, or the relationship we're experiencing, is distorted. We're not seeing it correctly because we're not seeing ourselves correctly. And so we're going to constantly experience these stormy days, And however often you're experiencing it, I don't know. But it just takes one storm to ruin the whole thing, right? Or one twister. So it might not happen for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. And so we anticipate the storm coming. And it's like, well, yeah, the storm will come. It's inevitable, just like nature. But how are we building the structure here to withstand the storm is really the work that we do on self. And so then this storm that looks like this is maybe just a rainy day. Me and my person just didn't agree. And maybe we don't experience, like, the storm might be the same situation, but it's no longer a storm. It's just life happening, conversation happening. There's no tension. So, yeah, and there's no surprises. Let's see, Spirit, a clear and concise message in regards to Pile 3's higher self. What is it that Pile 3's high self is wanting to communicate right here, right now? Please infuse this reading with the greatest amount of love here for pile number 3, Spirit. Thank you so much. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. What is it that pile 3's high self is wanting to communicate here in regards to this messaging for beautiful pile number 3? Thank you so much, pile 3, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here. I'm so grateful to be doing your reading. Okay, what do we have? Ego, Devil, Capricorn. Okay, it's called Ego in this one. This is the Devil in the traditional tarot. So what does that mean? Unhealthy ways of being. Attachments to hurt self, something that keeps us held back. We can't open up. Okay, a false sense of entrapment. Being overly focused on material things. Negative or fear-based thoughts. So we saw the moon. And we still see the moon. I think there's fears and distortions based on experiences that weren't pleasant and anticipation of things that aren't pleasant and projections of things that aren't true. So we're seeing something, okay, and what we're seeing here is driving up and drumming up all of this energy, and it keeps us in this devil state. And so your high self is saying, this devil isn't real. What you're seeing is it's necessarily real. It's a projection of pain. It's a projection of your fear. It's a projection of something here that you're seeing in a way that's going to perpetuate unpleasantries, sadness. Okay, but I feel like with the devil in this root chakra, I feel like it really goes in deep in your lower chakras here about wanting to feel safe and secure and extending your own sort of value to self, to cultivate that before we're able to engage in a relationship, okay, in a healthy way. And so, yes, people can still be around and we might still use the relationship to reflect this back to us, but how are we engaging in that relationship? Are we perpetuating the same unhealthy thing? Or are we connecting or attaching to that person with the same beliefs without growth? Thinking we deserve to be unhappy, or we deserve for it not to grow, or we don't see how we can engage differently with this person or this situation. Something's very stuck about your situation. So we might have an attachment to someone or to relationship as a whole. You know, it doesn't have to be a person in particular, but maybe how we engage in relationship. And we're attached to an unhealthy, destructive thought pattern that's driven by fear, or it's driven by not knowing thyself. A silent understanding of knowing thyself. Why does it keep becoming stormy between me and this person, or me and relationship? Why is it unpredictable? Or why do I get a feeling of feeling all over the place, like I have no control? This is all devil energy. It's because we need to really integrate the full self here. And we could do this still in relationship by being very aware, because the best way to learn is to have the mirror of someone else to show us. But when we're doing the same thing, or if we have too much fear in doing anything different, surrendering, learning to let go a bit, creating space, learning to trust, learning to forgive, we're never going to heal this thing, right? So some of you guys, it might be not being in a relationship and spending time on self. But I feel like the best way to learn is being in a relationship. So is there someone right now we're needing to trust and forgive out there? We don't trust them and we don't forgive them. And what your high self here is not saying go there and trust them and forgive them. It's saying if that's the case, then there's something within you that you don't trust and forgive. Seek. Spend time understanding what that is. Okay, and you could be in a relationship still figuring this out, but it's only turn the eyes to self. Turn that inward focus mirror on self. I don't trust and forgive this person on even a subtle level because there's something going on within me. I need to look at and understand here and accept. Okay? Not shove it away, not make it more about this person, not to try to forgive them more, not suppress that I need to just learn to trust them more. Well, no, you need to peel back what's going on within you. There's a devil going on within you. There's a moon going on within you. You're not seeing maybe your own devil. Okay? There's lots of fear, and the fear is based on you not seeing clearly. And the more not clear you see, the more fear you have. And so you're in this state. The devil's not real, and what you're seeing isn't real. When it's based on fears, when it's based on contracting energies, anger, not to trust, don't want to open, my heart's not completely open and vulnerable, then it's a perception. It's a trauma. It's a fear-based response. It's not truth in reality with a capital T, capital R. The universe wants you to be loved and wants it to be flowing here, not held back, not in a state where we can't trust and forgive others. So the 5 of Cups in reverse is a need to forgive some experience. But before we can get to that experience, we have to go within and look at self, because I feel like there's a part of self that feels bad. It's mourning, or it's looking at something that didn't work, and we're still focused on out there. It didn't work, or I could have done that, or it should have been that. And never mind that external so much as inside. What am I doing to heal this part of self, to trust this part of self, to give myself love, to see myself as a being here who can be open and trust, and keep asking and keep going in that direction without fear? So the Page of Wands. So the Page of Wands is all about exploration. It's the beginning energy of going in a direction to explore. Outgoing, creative, confident, mischievous. So we might be anticipating the storm, and so we don't explore, or we stay in our bubble, or we stay crying about something that has happened in the past, or the pain that keeps me stuck, or I don't know how to be in a relationship, and so therefore I won't. So the more we won't, the more we don't experience it. And high self is saying whatever it is here that you're understanding and seeing as bliss for you can happen. You could put it in action. You put it in action. It's not going to happen to you. Any relationship you come into awareness of, it's not going to make you into that person. You're going to shine your light of awareness on the person that you are. So you can see the devil within you. You can see the moonlight within you. You can see the fear within you. You can see where you're not forgiving yourself. You can see where you lack self-love. Then when you recognize this, and you don't have to do all of this sort of light casting before you could be loved and accepted. It's just saying this is what's creating this gap between you being fully open. and exploring. There's hesitancy. There's dwelling in the pains of what's holding you back. But it's yourself. Yeah, move out of that 5 swords. Move out of the conflict. Move out of the mental thought that keeps perpetuating and keeping us stuck in 5 swords in a relationship. They don't work. Things are looking up. The end of a difficult situation. Taking a trip. So moving out of that energy by seeing things different. A chariot movement. Again, integrating shadow. This is all about finding balance, working with the universe, victory. And really it's about having the success we want to have, but we have to guide the chariot. If we're too quick, like maybe to attach to a connection or relationship or to get some sort of outcome, the chariot topples. We gotta kind of move with the chariot and keep it balanced. Important achievement, self-discipline and willpower, public recognition. Cancer energy. So moving out of the painful situation, allowing ourselves to explore, being like a child here in how we explore, and communication, because Paige is all about communication. What is our passion? I feel like we have a challenge communicating what we truly want, our passions, because that would require us to open up. So it's like I might feel a passion and a fire, but I'd rather not say, because I'm looking at maybe being rejected, or it's not turning out the way I had hoped, or because of the past experience that I've had of being rejected or something. And so we carry this within our deep subconscious with the moon. It's like that rejection I experienced in my past life, or one time, or at the worst time, that created a fragmented self, created all sorts of complex here. And so now I stay in that with that complex instead of moving out of it, because I don't heal it, or I don't address it or acknowledge it. And so that's the devil in my world. And so I don't explore, I don't communicate, I don't follow the passion, what I want. So we need to integrate that hurt self, that part of self that doesn't want to be rejected, into the light. And then once we're into the light, the devil no longer exists, because we're shining the light on the devil, on the illusion. 7 of Swords, plans that need revision, more going on than meets the eye, poor timing. So this is the card of deception when we see 7 swords, but deception as a range of things. This is potentially self-sabotage. How I take action in my world keeps perpetuating a state of being here that I truly, in my core, in my subconscious, feel deserving of. I feel deserving of not being accepted because I can't accept myself. So I perpetuate this. And look, I see it almost looks like a merry-go-round with those ponies. I feel like you do a merry-go-round here in cycles that you can't pull out of, where you sabotage yourself because we're not wanting to be authentic. And so I feel like to be authentic would mean to open up and to communicate my truth and pursue what passionately pulls me. But this would expose me, and then I might be rejected. And so part of me doesn't embrace this part of self, that wants to be loved or sexed up here or whatever, or felt this connection on an intimate level. And so I lie. I lie to myself, or I lie to this person, or I lie in way of action, or I just, like I said, for some of you guys, focus on something else instead of relationship. I don't need relationship, or I don't need this person, or I don't need to resolve this thing. But it's like, well, the storm's going to come. We could say I don't need, and then at one point it's like, yeah, I feel lonely. Maybe I do want a relationship. There's the storm. Now I got to face it. Or this person, whatever situation you're in, I'm sabotaging. It's like, well, then the storm will come, or this person won't see the congruency between your authenticity and your what you're giving off energetically here, and the inner knowing, and what you're doing. That's 7 swords. It's not congruent. Your feelings, your actions, your thoughts, your words aren't one. Okay, and so there comes the storm. Or if you're not with a person and you've been focused on whatever, and then let's say you're like, I want to date. Well, here comes the storm. You got to look at this. So either which way you slice and dice this thing, your high self saying, you got to look at this thing, man. Okay? to get out of the 5 source, to get out of the devil unhealthy way, to get out of the fear. Look at the subconscious. And there's a deep need to accept self, to forgive self, to love self, to trust self, be open, communicate. And if this means putting yourself in front of being rejected, then this is the way we learn. Okay, but I feel like there's more self-reflecting we can do. And then when we're out in the open, ready to be rejected, even if we are rejected, it doesn't impact us. It doesn't feel like this. It just feels like, yeah, I see this person wasn't interested. Okay, well, I move on. It has no bearing on my self-worth. No bearing at all on my self-worth. Whether someone finds me attractive or sexually turned on by me or is responding this way or that way. It doesn't matter. Okay, but when it weighs so much and it has this much weight, there's something inside of you needing to be looked at and dealt with here. So, Queen of Air. And this is the Queen of Swords in reverse. This is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Objective decision making, clear away all that no longer serves you. Seeing the humor in a situation. So, I feel as though, depending on your situation, some of you guys might be in a connection right now that is very unclear. We're not being clear with our intention. We're doing one thing and saying another, or we're not saying anything at all and we're misleading. So we're not allowing there to be balance in a connection, movement in a flow, because we have no sense of direction here. We need to get clear. For some of you guys, you're not clear yourself exactly where you want to go. Okay, and I do feel is based on a past experience that you're taking as some sort of understanding that isn't necessarily true. And there's a lot of mental activity that's perpetuating this devil energy. So we need to identify and see the truth. Okay, and we need to become honest and clear with self. And we need to understand what is healthy boundary and what does honesty look like and what is the truth about a past situation or an experience say about us truthfully. Connect to that. Okay, because I think what we're telling ourselves is a lie. Whatever I experienced in the past, did this, that, and the other, therefore I suck, or I'm not good, or I'm not worthy of love. Deep down, energetically, that's the energy we're carrying. Okay, we might not be saying that to self, but the way we're acting, that's the energy it's outputting. I'm not deserving, I'm not loving, what happened in the past traumatized me or tormented me or fragmented me or made me feel unworthy or like I don't want to experience that again. So I carry this, and so now in my everyday action, it's like I'm not decisive, I'm not clear, I can't make a decision, I don't see my way. Okay, or this could just be a lot of fear from the moon that we were seeing based on some situation we're even unaware of that's really shoved into the subconscious here. Okay, it's not that we were dumped or rejected or anything that we're aware of, but there's some sort of thing in the subconscious here. And so we need to review it, understand it, so that we are able to make boundaries within self and accept certain parts of self and see self and integrate certain shadow self so we can move forward in a direction when it comes to a relationship that isn't self-sabotaging. Like if your passion and your desire is pulling you in a direction, it's for a reason. Okay, are we trying to convince ourselves not to? Okay, because if we feel it, but we're not allowing ourselves to flow in this direction, it's because we're listening to the fear. We're not guiding in the direction we're being intuitively and passionately pulled to. So we're getting in the way here, and that's 7 swords. There's something incongruent about how you feel, what you want, and what you're saying and doing in way of action and words. Okay, and I don't know if you see it, or I don't know if you're justifying it, but the actions and the words are just the manifestation of what's really going on the inside here. And so I don't know that those actions and those words are in line here. And so we could see it and observe it, but the only way those will ever go away is when we really, really tap into what's going on in the subconscious and heal and integrate those shadows. Fear of rejection, the hurt I experienced, being vulnerable and open, tapping into my sexuality, allowing myself to trust and forgive. All that comes from the inside. And only you have the key, to let yourself free from this devil that doesn't even exist. And so your high self is coming through with a very clear message here for some of you guys that might help, okay? This might free some of you guys from bondage. Your high self is saying this. This devil, it isn't real. And so it only feels real because you're creating the reality of this devil in your world. And when you wrap your intuitive knowing around this illusion falls away. And this whole thing falls away. And it's that simple. You don't have to do all work and anything. All you need to do is identify this devil illusion as an illusion. So there's nothing to break free from. There's no healing to do. There's nothing you need to do once you shine your light on the fact that this isn't even real. So just like a mirage, it fades away. You know, like it's not a process of like 12-step program of healing. It's just shining the light on the devil. Oh, you mean that is a false belief I carried about myself, or that I wasn't good enough because this person said no or whatever? Oh, now this totally falls away. It's not even real. There's nothing to escape from. There's nothing to heal because it's not real, you know? Because if we say this is the key to release you from the devil, it means the devil exists and it's real and you might fall into bondage again. No, you're only in bondage because you think it's real. You're only entrapped because you're feeding the unhealthy pattern. Once you see you're in the pattern, once you see the mind in action here of how you're feeding it or your understanding of it is actually not helping you, you see it in a different way, and now you're free. Okay? You don't have to do all sorts of things. Then you see clearly. Then it makes sense to you. So I feel like there's a need to really see yourself in a clear light, you know, and if it feels like it's suppressing a certain desire or a passion or a way you want to go, or even a word you want to speak about how you're feeling, then I feel like you're in sabotage mode. You're not being honest and open. You're not being clear, and you're creating more confusion. You're out of balance. You're not going to get out of the 5 swords. You're still in the devil ways. You're still stuck in those habitual ways to keep you stuck, unhealthy patterns. So you want to open your heart space in a way here that's innocent, pure, open, vulnerable, trusting, loving, forgiving. And you can do this. Okay? You can do this. So I feel like I need to give you more, but I don't know how to make this any clearer. Maybe we'll do a reading for you guys and, you know, healing self-love or something like this, you know, because I feel I've been reading for this energy for some time. And I don't feel I do it justice. You know, I think there's something deeper here we're needing to do, because I can't just tell you, well, the devil's not real. Okay, well, what? I feel like we're seeing something that's real to us, and it's real as long as you believe it, you know, and that stems in the mind. And so the crooked mind that's in bondage can't be the same mind we use to identify the issue. It needs to be from a different mind that we identify. And so how do we get there? You know, and I say mind, but it's really escaping from that mind view and that perception, seeing with the awareness, the unjudgmental self, seeing with the heart, feeling with the knowing, you know, that part of self. Then we can rise above the mind and say, oh, my self-speak, my understanding was skewed. That's what was keeping me stuck, you know, just like a child would here. Because I don't feel like this is years and years of therapy and trauma. I feel like it just needs to click, you know, because I feel like you're on a perpetual sort of circle here with the shitty relationships, or a shitty relationship, or not, you know, you're avoiding one because you don't want to experience the same thing. But either which way, you got to face this thing, you know, it's knocking on your door here. Empress, look at that. Abundance, self-love, boundaries that are healthy, knowing your self-worth, know your worth. Divine Empress, divine feminine energy. So you don't have to be a female, but this is all about mother love, you know, giving love, receiving love, knowing there's abundance there for us, knowing how to value ourselves, how to say no, how to say yes, how to receive, and know that our self-worth. Lavish abundance, give birth to your dreams. Nurture yourself and others. So when we nurture ourselves, we're able to nurture others. If we can't nurture self, we can't give to others. We can't expect another to give to us, because eventually they're going to come through with a storm, okay, and pull the rug from under us. And so maybe we say, I fear this. This is why I fear relationship. I don't want the rug to be pulled. And it's like, well, if you perceive it as a rug pulling experience, that's exactly what you'll experience. If you perceive it as that person's going to act out a trauma or a trigger for them, that has nothing to do with me, then it doesn't feel like a rug being pulled. I just see it's a rain cloud in that person's world. I'm still strong. I'm still valued. I'm still abundant. I'm still beautiful. I can still receive. I can still give. It's taken nothing away from me at all. But if I feel attached to that person, if that person even sneezes funny, I'm going to have this connection that's unhealthy, you know? Okay, beautiful pile 3. I love you so much. I hope this helped you. I don't know what else I could tell you aside from inwards, okay? Reflecting, it will come, okay? And I will see you at the next one. Bye-bye.